There we go.
There you
I think
are.
I'm there.
Oh, there it is. Hey, dude, how are you?
That's good. Good. How are you?
Good. Look at that hair, man.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've got hair made up for yours.
we're at two ends of the spectrum there. Yeah. So what's
Uh,
going on, man? How are you?
oh, I'm doing pretty good. You know, thanks to you guys, I've come pretty far with this. You know,
You making you? How are you? Are you busy for Christmas yet? You got any Christmas
I,
orders and stuff?
I do have orders. Yes, I have a few orders. You
Yeah.
know, it surprised me because people ask me to do things that I've never even done before, and then they like my work so much, they have so much confidence, and they're willing to put down so much money that how can you say no?
That's a nice problem to have. Yeah.
That's fantastic, man. Well, I mean, you're one of those great examples of what artistic ability, God-given artistic ability, mixed with a medium that you enjoy doing, and I know you do all kinds of different things, painting and all kinds of stuff. So it's that's really nice that you have a whole array of different things that you can do.
Yes. When I first started following you, you know, I never owned one tool. I never even had a screwdriver. So the first tool I did buy was a router and then some of your bits and then a board, and started out that simply. And now I've got a whole shop full of tools and using them all.
That's
It's pretty cool.
fantastic. So I want to get into your background a little bit and some of the conversations that you and I have had over the years. But I guess starting at the right point, introduce yourself and where you're from and whatever you want to say.
Okay. Well, my name's Clark Ward. My original name's Clark Ward. I was adopted into a family with the name of Clark Letty, and I've given that up, and I go by Clark Ward straight up. That's it.
Okay.
Everybody knows me by that. Had a really rough life in the city, and pretty much grew up on the streets, and I straightened up my life and went to college. When I was in college, I was doing graphic arts, and I was running the graphic arts department for the 4.5 years I was in the 2-year college.
Wow.
So I went on to more college, and that didn't work out. I was going to get my bachelor's degree, and you know, all I needed was a cosigner. I was doing all my own work, making it through college, and I failed by one day with my Native American scholarship.
Oh.
That destroyed my whole career with the digital graphic design, where I was guaranteed a job at starting out $55,000 a year, guaranteed, with the dean of the college and my career counselor already set it up.
Wow.
So I was just looking for somebody to co-sign, and somebody said yes, and let's say the paperwork never came through, and they broke my heart. And so from that point forward, I started hiking on the Appalachian Trail. I spent 7 years on the Appalachian Trail with a dog.
Yeah.
Actually, the best years of my life. I loved it. And while I was out there, well, my mom, who I never really lived with or known, she lost her husband, she lost her other kids. So somebody called me and says, your mom needs help. So I gave up living on the trail, staying in a temporary log cabin that I was at for the winter. And I went to help mom. And that's where I found you, because I was out of the woods, I was out of my natural environment, and now I'm in the city with somebody I don't really know, and she gave me a little space smaller than this garage and a little tiny porch. And my friends were all saying, that knew me on the trail, they're like, oh, this is a nice temporary place for you. You're helping your mom. Good for you. Well, in the meantime, she says, go on, take the porch. So on the porch, I started adding wood and started doing the router and stuff. And then it just it just became great, and it became bigger where I had to move out. You
Yeah.
got to get a bigger.
Yeah. Well, I remember the first time you and I talked, it was a really interesting conversation, but that must have been in those early days when you first started following me, because I remember very vividly that you said that you had spent all this time literally out in the middle of nowhere on the trail. I didn't realize that it would have been like 7 years you were on the Appalachian Trail, and that's like the longest trail. I mean, that's like what, thousands of miles long, right?
Yes, it is. It's 2,195 miles.
Yeah, yeah. And so did you walk that whole thing?
I've walked it from Georgia to Massachusetts and back and forth probably 7 times. I never went past Massachusetts because I've had a dog, and the terrain is pretty rough up there, and he's not welcomed. And I'd pretty much like to do the rest of it alone because it's so beautiful.
Yeah,
And it's hard for a dog.
yeah, yeah. Wow, wow. So then you started making signs, and now you've got your own place. Are you in your shop right now? It looks like your shop behind you.
I am. This is my shop. It's my
Wow.
wood stove going for the winter.
Yeah. Oh, very cool.
The other side of it.
You got a
And then I
pretty,
got where I do all the carving at over here.
wow. That's pretty good size.
Yes, it is. It's even two more garage doors down, but that's filled up with other stuff.
So, do you see yourself ever going back to the trail?
I do. Hopefully this pandemic ends where we can go peacefully along and not infect any little towns or people.
Yeah.
I would enjoy that much. Absolutely.
Yeah. So how now so where you moved to, are you in the same city where you were living with your mom?
No, I'm in Pennsylvania. She lives up in upstate New York in Syracuse.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. And then, uh, so you have created where you're at in Pennsylvania. Do you have a group of friends or people that you know in that area? Is that why you went to Pennsylvania?
I know nobody. I'm totally alone here.
Really?
I've been alone here. I just started meeting somebody for wood, and that's about it. And it's a slow.
Yeah.
It's a slow. I have a hard time meeting people, so it's not like I'm going to go out and just hang out in places and meet people.
So how are you getting your sales? How are you creating sales?
Oh, it's crazy. My girlfriend's got a lot of friends. And this last concert that I went to, I did a portrait of the guy on stage. And that picture went over so well that I made $350 off of raffling it off of only about 100 people in the show.
Wow, wow, wow.
It was very the pandemic. He usually gathers people like 1,000 or 2,000 people or more, and it's a very tiny show. But
Yeah.
I seem to always do pretty well when I do portraits of people.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what's your process there? Do you take a photograph and then you convert that? Or do you just draw it? I mean, you're an artist, so do you just draw it out of your mind, a snapshot, or what's your process there?
I take it into a couple programs I have on my iPad. Now I have a new iPad because my last one just got stolen last week. So I don't know the name of the programs till I go searching for them again. But Affinity is one of them.
Uh-huh.
And I just get the picture down to a point where it looks pretty decent to me, but it's not perfect. And that's where I start doing it by hand. And I start like making in some wrinkles or just getting rid of some of the things that don't belong in there and making it a little better. So not only do I use the program, but I try to make it a little better afterwards too.
You enhance it with your artistic ability then.
By a little bit, yeah, a little bit works.
Wow, wow. And I know you've done, all kinds of signs. I've seen tons of different things that you've done. And for the audience, if you guys haven't seen any of Clark's work, where can they see your stuff, Clark?
You can go to clarksnaturaldesigns.com.
You have your own website.
Yes.
Congratulations. That's cool. So say that again. It's Clark's Designs.
clarksnaturaldesigns.com.
Got it. Got it. So I encourage everybody to go over there and see the stuff as Clark has done, because it truly is artistic. Yeah, it's just showpieces, beautiful stuff, man. I knew that right from the beginning.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, buddy. You're very welcome. So, what do you see? Where do you see your business going? So tell us, I guess, to back up, what else are you doing besides carved signs? What other kind of stuff do you do? Just hit the mic.
Well, right now I've getting into a little hand carving and chainsaw carving, and trying to mix the two together a little bit, like with this piece right here.
Oh wow! Oh, I remember that. You sent
I
a
can.
picture of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
So if I can do the carving and maybe put a little bit of the hand routering around it some way, because I've got some really cool ideas, like with carving out a turtle and then routering on top of the turtle shell, different designs on top of that,
Yeah.
I'm always thinking and I'm always creating in my mind. Now I just got to get it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
I can picture it here. I just can't get it past here. I can't do it.
So that welcome sign that you did back there with the trees, you did a lot of that carving with like a small chainsaw, or did you do that with an angle grinder or hand chisels and mallet, or what?
This one here was done. I started out like this. I'll show you. I'm doing another one right here, actually. So I jigsawed. I'll drill the holes into it, and then I jigsaw it out around it, and then I use the angle grinder to shape it all out. And that's pretty much that's all I use on that piece.
Have you ever used the Fordham?
I've got a Fordham here, and I don't use it much because the few times I do, I've broken the cord 3 times already.
Oh my God.
So I like this Makita angle grinder a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah.
This seems to do the job for me.
My problem with using that, because I love doing that
Power carving.
power carving. I love it. And they're just heavy for me. I'm a weakling. They're heavy and awkward for me, but they're fun.
Yeah.
They are a lot of fun.
Power carving is a blast.
Yeah, just be careful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've cut my knuckle down to the bone. It was pretty cool though. I tried to show Eric my knuckle, he wouldn't look, but
I wouldn't look either.
So what are you staying busy enough just by word of mouth from orders and stuff, just by word of mouth?
I am, and not only do I have that, but I have a couple stores that I have my stuff up in, like a dog grooming place. I've got a whole dog show going on in this dog grooming place, and this pipe store, this, what do you call that? A smoke store. I do all kinds. Yeah, I do signs for him too.
Wow, that's terrific. So you're doing signs for them inside their stores.
Yeah, and they can sell them too. Like I started out with just doing, I like this guy's store, but he had no advertisements. So I just brought him an advertisement without even knowing this guy. And I was like, you need a sign for your store. How does this look? And he loved it.
Great idea.
So he took it. And from that point forward, he started he was like, you can have this and you can have this and this is yours and this is my price for you. And
yeah.
unbelievable.
Yep, barter. Gotta love barter.
Harder's great.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, that's such a great lesson, I think, to take the first step, to just go ahead and do it and then bring it to them without them even knowing it. That I think that is just that's a great way to go, especially with people that can pass the word, that can put the word out of what you do. I think that's a great idea, and that's a great lesson.
Yeah, because I know nobody here, so I need a little help.
Yeah.
That's
So is this full time then? You do this full time? You don't work a job other than this?
Nope, I don't work a job. My only job is to help my girlfriend, and she has taken over her son's kids, and one of them has severe autism, and he's a handful for 10 people to watch at a time.
Wow. Yeah.
It's a lot of work for her, so I help her out an awful lot with that. And
That's good.
do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So, so what's the next step? What do you think is going to be what's your plan for this next year? Do you have any specific plans as far as your business goes?
Boy, just hope to get out to a few more shows and get out to do some. And you know, my whole plan and goal from starting this was to continue my freedom outdoors, and to traveling and selling. And I thought the best way to do it was to get a van, just bring my chainsaw, bring my router with me, and just travel and from place to place. But my girlfriend's got a family here, and the kids need us, so it kind of put a damper on that. But that part of my soul and freedom is still in motion, and who knows, maybe the kids will grow up and we'll still be able to travel like that sometime.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, Vicky and I have talked about that, literally just getting a van with maybe a little trailer behind it that is a little sign shop, and literally just traveling around making signs, and, you know, kind of paying for it as we went along, and just stop somewhere and we actually have people that have started following us that kind of do that. And it just sounds like a kind of a cool life.
Yes, as much as I've traveled and met different people that do that, freedom, there's no price you can pay for freedom is the best thing.
Yeah.
I can imagine, yeah, you know, when you were out on the trail, that had to been, I have a really good friend, John, that actually used to live here on our property, that wanted to do a lot of the through hikes, and go and do that. He was going to do the Arizona Trail, but then things kind of got out of hand and he couldn't do it, but he still wants to do a lot of that. And I kind of learned a lot about that's kind of a world within itself.
Oh,
It just sounds adventurous. It really does.
that's where everybody just gets along. Everybody loves one another. Everybody has to trust one another, because that's all you have is each other.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I just don't know if I could do it without taking a fishing rod. Did you? I love to fish so much, and every place I would be looking at, you know, something that's wet, man, I got to fish that. I don't know if I could get past that.
On the Appalachian Trail, Pacific Coast, or the Pacific Crescent and the Crescent Trail, they're all mountains. There's not many lakes until you go down, but most of it is climbing up high. So maybe just bring a little string of wire with you and a hook pack somewhere.
Yeah, one of those little fishing poles that tears down to about that big. Yeah.
Well, you know, the people that do this, you know, everything is, you know exactly how much weight it is, because it's all based on lightweight stuff. And, you know, your sleeping bag weighs like 1.5 ounces. And, you know, I know because my buddy was really kind of getting into that. And it was really a cool education, learning that whole world, because it was just something that was totally foreign to me. I'm still never done it. But it does sound like an adventure for sure.
When I first started out, a lot of my stuff was bought at Walmart, and I didn't have anybody advising me. I just seen it on the map, and I just said to myself, I want to go, and I went with Walmart stuff. And I went down to Georgia in February. And I'm telling you, the top of those mountains was below 20 degrees in the teens. And I had Walmart stuff. I learned very quick. A lot of people helped me, and I'll never forget them. So now that I've got all the experience, I love helping other people out there that's not prepared. I find quite a few of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just so rewarding to help somebody that's not prepared, not ready, or ready to give up, and then you can help them
knowing
succeed.
how it feels. Yeah.
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 And it's a completely different thing. I went to a couple stores. There's one over in Vegas that is all about the trail stuff and the backpacks and all of the different things. And it was eye-opening experience, no doubt.
I love that stuff. I love those stores. It's like, oh, you can't get me out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right, my friend. Well, how are we doing
We're
on
doing
time?
okay.
We're
So
doing
we
good on
we
time.
always kind of ask this as a closing up is so if somebody came to you and said, well, I'm thinking about trying this sign carving thing, what do you think? What do you suggest? Or what's your words of advice? What would you tell them? What would be your words of advice?
This can bring you out of a lot, because I know people, well, sort of like myself, where I went to my mom's house, and let's say I wasn't an alcoholic, but I had a pretty good drinking habit. And this pretty much brought me out of drinking and smoking with everybody, and brought me to the point where I'm settled down a lot more to it. So I would say to anybody, this is the best thing to do. It gets you focused. It gets you doing something you like. I mean, there's nothing better in this world than creating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As long as you're not doing it for the money all the time, and you're focused on being happy and just going forward and helping others and seeing those smiles on other people's faces, heck, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. And making cool stuff just gives you a feeling inside when you get done with it, and even the excitement of making it and the process. When you end up with something that's really cool looking, that is, and then other people appreciate that too. That is that there's a lot of satisfaction, and I think that's good for the soul. I really do. I think that is, it gives you a confidence, and it just, I don't know, there's just something about it that is you can't get any other way.
No, I have severe PTSD, and this is what helps me very much.
Really? Yeah.
It's the focus and being creative and
Yeah.
Yes, it definitely does.
So if you were to go back to when you first started, is there anything that you would have done different? Anything that you wish you would have learned a little bit different or faster, or anything you would have done different from the beginning?
From the beginning, that's hard to say, because I had very little space, but I would have started a lot younger, starting out with wood. Yes, I've struggled my whole life with doing pictures and drawings and trying to sell that, which never worked hardly. But once I got into wood, it was like bam, bam, bam. People want to buy it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. That's so cool.
I don't know what I would have done different. I think the progression of how slow I started was just right for me. Everybody's got their own pace.
Yeah. Wow. Fantastic. Well, this has been fun, man. I know we've talked, what have we talked, a dozen times at least on the phone? I know we've talked a lot over the years. Can you remember when it was that we first talked, that when you first started kind of watching what we were doing? I can't remember. I know it's been years.
I believe it's been since 2014, because I started my Natural Designs website at that time. And that's when people were saying, don't you have a business card? Don't you have this? And don't you have that? And I never had nothing. So I believe it was 2016, because
Yeah.
That's what's email.
Well, I knew it had been a while, and that first conversation that we had when you were talking about just coming off the trail, that was really I can remember that very very clearly, and I knew that that we were going to be friends. That was fun. That was really a kick. I got such a kick out of that, and then over the years we've talked. I don't know, again, maybe 10 or 12 times. And so I'm sure glad you found us, man.
When I get my vehicle, I'm coming out to see you.
Come on out.
Please do. Please do.
Yep.
Bring your lady with you if you can.
Absolutely. We definitely love the ride, driving and stopping at all the places in between.
Yeah, that's what we like. I stop on the way to Laughlin just to, I don't know. We always stop.
Yeah,
He always makes it twice as fast when he goes someplace without me, but
I love road trips. We've driven across country a couple times, not enough, and I think I could do it all the time and just seeing places in this country and just being on the road. I just love it. I absolutely love driving and love being on the road, but we don't do that as much as we used to. We've been kind of busy. But anyway, buddy, I want to thank you for this. I think everybody's gonna really get a lot out of it. I really appreciate your time and all the support over the years, man. You've been a good friend and somebody that has supported us and spoken well and highly of us, and I appreciate that. I want you to know that.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So everybody go hit up Clark. Are you on Facebook too?
I am on Facebook. I think I'm kind of hard to find on there. It's not always open. I don't know. I'm pretty secluded. I should probably open up my Facebook to everybody a little bit more than I do.
Yeah, I don't get on there. I don't get on there as much as I used to.
I think my name's Clark Coyote Ward on Facebook.
Yeah, it might be. I'll see if I can find it, and then I'll put it. Maybe I'll put a caption across here where they can find you.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
My pleasure, buddy. My pleasure completely. All right, my friend. Well, we're gonna let you move on with your day. What is it? It's 2 hours later there, right? So it's going on 4:30.
Yeah. So. Right.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's 4:30 here.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, stay safe and
stay healthy.
Stay healthy. Have a great Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas.
Why, thank you. You too. Absolutely. Right. Enjoy.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.